So if you're right-handed like me, you'll want to hold your crochet hook in your right hand and your yarn in your left hand. If you're left-handed, then you'll want to switch it around. If you are left-handed, I suggest taking a look on YouTube for some left-handed crochet tutorials that will help you understand some of the differences between how you might want to crochet compared to how I do. So there are two main ways that you can hold your crochet hook, and neither is right or wrong. It's really just about what feels more comfortable for you. So you can hold your crochet hook like a pen or a pencil, or you can hold it more like a knife. I suggest trying both holds and just seeing what feels more comfortable. There are really endless ways to hold your yarn, and again, none are right or wrong. However, the way that you do hold your yarn will impact your tension. So tension just refers to the tightness or resistance that's on the yarn as it travels through your fingers and into your work. If your yarn tension is really tight, then your stitches will be tight, and if it's loose, your stitches will be loose. Don't stress too much about tension just yet. Getting a handle on tension is one of the trickiest parts of learning to crochet, but it will improve over time the more and more that you practice. In my experience, beginners tend to struggle with tighter tension more so than looser tension. I think this is partly because when you're trying to learn something new, you really concentrate, and that can lead you to grip really tightly on the yarn and the hook. Also, I think there's a tendency to assume that to get neat stitches, you need to crochet them really tightly. And actually that's not true. You do want a little bit of looseness in your stitches, and the tighter you crochet, the harder it will be for you to work into your stitches in your next row. You'll know that you have tight tension if you're really fighting to get your crochet hook into your work, or you're struggling to pull the yarn through the loop on your hook. You'll know you've got loose tension if you're finding your yarn is kind of going all over the place, it's hard to wrangle, your stitches are looking really loose and holy, and it's hard for you to see the different parts of your stitch. So I'll start out by showing you how I hold my yarn, and I think this is a pretty good starting place for most new crocheters. But then I'll show you a few alternative approaches you can use if you're struggling with either tight or loose tension. Okay, so how I hold my yarn is I drape it in between my pinky and ring finger, and then I wrap it around my index finger. Then once you've got the yarn wrapped around your fingers, you want to grip onto your work with your middle finger and your thumb. And the reason you want to hold your work with your middle finger and thumb is that you actually want to use your index finger to control the tension on your yarn. So you'll notice that if I move my index finger down, it loosens the tension on the yarn, and if I pull it upward, it tightens the tension. So for this reason, you want to keep your index finger relatively still when you are crocheting. You can also use it to move your yarn to drape it over the hook as you need. But that's why you want to use your middle finger to hold onto the work so that you can use this index finger to control the yarn. In my experience, often when people are starting out, their index finger tries to get involved. It tries to hold on to the work because it's generally a dominant finger. So it might take a little bit of practice getting used to holding this index finger constant and still, and using your third finger instead to grip onto your work. So that's how I hold my yarn, but there are infinite ways really that you can hold your yarn. If you are struggling with tension that is too loose, then generally you want to increase the resistance on the yarn. So you want it to take more twists and turns before it reaches your work. So options you could try include wrapping it around your pinky finger as well as around your index finger. You can also try wrapping it around your index finger twice, and really any other combination of twists and turns that will increase the tension on your yarn. Alternatively, if your tension is really tight, then you want to reduce the number of twists and turns. So you could try going up between your pinky finger and ring finger and then just draping it over your index finger. Or alternatively, you could do it that way and wrap it around the index finger once as well. And another good option is to go over your pinky and then over the top of the index finger as well. But try out different combinations. Basically, the thing that you want to ensure is that you've got good control over the yarn as it's draped over your index finger, and that it feels like it's moving fairly freely through your hand with a constant amount of tension. If you're still really struggling with tension, you can use a tension regulator. You can buy tension rings on Amazon, and there are also some great YouTube tutorials online for how to crochet your own tension regulator.